see how pretty this is.
Oh, that's charming, Kitty. What a pity you didn't make it bigger. We could have put it round Mr. Collins when he grows too much of a bore.
Lizzy, how do you speak like that about your charming cousin?
Oh,
there you are, Mrs. Bennet.
Oh, Mr. Collins, we were just talking about you. I thought you were walking with Jane, Mr. Collins.
I left Miss Jane in the garden with Miss Charlotte and the new puppies.
I think I'll join.
One moment, please, Miss Elizabeth. Madam, may I have the permission to solicit a private interview with your daughter, Elizabeth?
Private?
Well, I really...
yes, indeed. Lizzy will be only too happy. Come, Kitty, I want you upstairs.
Why do you keep winking, Mamma?
Winking? I wasn't winking.
But you were, Mamma.
Don't contradict. Come, Kitty.
But, Mamma, Mr. Collins can have nothing private to say to me.
No nonsense, Lizzy. Lizzy, I desire you to stay where you are. Come, Kitty. Mr. Collins. Come along, Kitty.
Believe me, my dear Miss Elizabeth, your modesty does you no disservice in my eyes. Oh, wait, you can hardly doubt the purport of my discourse. My attentions have been too marked to be mistaken. I have singled you out as the companion of my future life. Please, before my feelings run away with me, let me state my reasons for marrying. First, I regard it as the duty of every gentleman in easy circumstances to marry. Secondly, I am convinced it'll add greatly to my happiness. And thirdly, I think it only right that since I am to inherit your father's estate, I should try and keep it in the family. And fourthly, it is the particular wish of that very noble lady whom I have the honour to call my patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh. These, dear Miss Elizabeth, are my motives. And now, nothing remains but for me to assure you of the violence of my affection.
Why, you are too hasty, sir. You forget that I have made no answer. Let me do so at once. I appreciate the honor of your proposal.
Oh, my dear Miss Elizabeth.
But I must decline with thanks.
I understand, my dear Miss Elizabeth, that it is a delicate and charming custom of young ladies to say no when they mean yes, even to 3 and 4 refusals. I am therefore by no means discouraged by what you have said.
Upon my word, sir, you are very hard to discourage.
Ah, my dear.
Mr. Collins, you have made your offer. I have refused it. You can therefore take possession of this estate without the least compunction or self-reproach whenever it falls to you. So let's regard the incident as closed.
But, my dear Miss Elizabeth, I think you ought to take into consideration that in spite of your loveliness and amiable qualifications, you are practically penniless. And it is by no means certain that another offer of marriage may ever be made you.
Well, by all...
So I must therefore attribute your refusal of me to your wish of increasing my love by suspense, which is, I am told, the usual practice of elegant females.
Believe me, sir, I am not one of those elegant females who takes pleasure in tormenting a respectable man. I am a rational creature, speaking the truth from her heart.
Ah, thank you. You make me feel certain that when my proposal is sanctioned by the authority of your parents, you will plainly say yes.
Oh! Oh, Papa.
Lizzy!
Oh, Papa, dear, I must tell you.
Come in the library.
Lizzy, what...
Eccole. Mamma, buongiorno.
Bentornate, tesori. Qual è Elizabeth? Quella vestita di verde?
Mamma, venga a vedere cosa le abbiamo portato. Buongiorno,
Vediamo.
signor Collins.
Speriamo che non abbiate
Vabbè, Jenny, devo
dimenticato
farla morire
niente.
dalla rabbia.
Posso, madama, chiederle l'onore di un colloquio particolare con la sua leggiadra figlia Elizabeth?
Oh cielo, ma certo!
Come? Con me? Subito?
Gradirei molto.
Beh, che state facendo qui su? Avanti! Avanti su! Aprite.
Cos'ha da dirmi, signor Collins, che gli altri non possono sentire?
Posso assicurarle, signorina, che per questa conversazione ho il consenso della sua venerabile mamma, la quale è stata già informata di quanto sto per dirle e che lei del resto avrà già intuito.
Io veramente non ho intuito proprio nulla.
Questo poco di ritrosia la rende ancora più amabile ai miei occhi ed è una virtù che si aggiunge a quelle descrittemi da sua mamma.
Non bisogna mai credere all'indulgenza delle mamme.
Dunque, signorina Elizabeth, È vero che sono giunto in questa casa solo stamattina, ed è anche vero che ne ripartirò dopodomani. Lady Catherine de Bourgh non ammetterebbe mai che io lasciassi i miei parrocchiani senza le funzioni della domenica. Quindi non ho molto tempo. Nel resto, ho riflettuto a lungo sul passo che sto per compiere. Di lei e delle sue sorelle poi ho sentito parlare così spesso che posso dire di conoscerle ottimamente. Quanto a me, suo padre, signorina, le avrà certamente descritto la mia serietà e la mia posizione.
Oh, certamente. Potrei dire anzi che mio padre è un suo segreto ammiratore.
Tutto ciò dunque mi consente di dirle senza tema di suscitar meraviglia che al mio primo entrare in questa casa io l'ho eletta compagna della mia vita.
Ma
La prego mi consenta di continuare. Prima di lasciarci trasportare dai sentimenti.
sì, per l'amor del cielo, freniamoli.
No. Sarà bene che io le esponga i motivi che ho per sposarmi. Primo, considero giusto che un ecclesiastico con una buona disponibilità di mezzi come me dia alla sua parrocchia il buon esempio del matrimonio. Secondo, sono convinto che ciò aggiungerà molto alla mia felicità. Terzo, e avrei dovuto dir primo, questa è l'opinione di colei che ho l'onore di chiamare mia benefattrice.
Se mi permette.
Resta ancora da spiegare perché le mie mire si siano rivolte qui piuttosto che sul mio proprio vicariato, dove le posso garantire risiedono molte amabilissime donzelle. Ma il fatto è che dovendo ereditare, come erediterò questa tenuta dopo la morte del suo onorato padre, non sarò soddisfatto finché non avrò sposato una delle sue figliole, di modo che la perdita possa venire limitata al minimo. Perché vede, signorina, io sono perfettamente indifferente alle ricchezze e tra l'altro non farò a suo padre nessuna richiesta di dote perché mi rendo conto che egli non potrebbe soddisfarla. So anche che tutto ciò che le spetta sono 1.000 sterline al 4%. Sì, 1.000 sterline al 4%, che le verranno corrisposte alla morte della sua venerabile mamma. Tutto qui. Ed ora, signorina, desidererei naturalmente rassicurarla sulla veemenza del mio sentimento.
Un momento, signor Collins. Lei deve ripartire dopodomani e quindi è giusto che abbia una certa fretta. Mi permetterà perciò di risponderle senza indugio alcuno. La ringrazio per il favore di cui mi fa segno e sono sensibilissima all'onore della sua proposta, ma mi è impossibile accettarla.
So che le signorine hanno il vezzo di respingere la richiesta dell'uomo che esse si propongono segretamente di accettare e che tale rifiuto si può ripetere anche 2 o 3 volte. Io quindi non mi sento per nulla scoraggiato e continuo a credere che presto la condurrò all'altare.
Signor Collins, in fede mia le garantisco che io non sono una di quelle signorine, seppure ne esistano, così audaci da mettere a repentaglio la loro felicità per farsi chiedere in matrimonio una seconda volta. Lei non potrebbe mai farmi felice e io sono l'ultima donna al mondo capace di far felice lei. Creda, se Lady Catherine dovesse conoscermi, non approverebbe la sua scelta.
Se fossi sicuro che Lady Catherine pensi veramente così? Ma non posso immaginare che sua signoria troverebbe da dire sul suo conto, no? Quando mi procurerò l'onore di riparlarle di questo argomento, spero di ricevere una risposta più favorevole.
Ma insomma, signor Collins, lei mi sconcerta davvero. Le ripeto che mi sento onorata della sua proposta, ma i miei sentimenti mi vietano sotto ogni aspetto di accettarla. Come posso parlare più chiaro?
So.
La prego, non mi consideri un tipo di donna eccentrica che si diverte a tormentarla.
Adorabile. Sono persuaso che, sanzionate dai suoi genitori, le mie profferte non potranno non essere accettate.
Lizzy. Onze vader neef heeft je een mededeling te doen. De kamer is nu helemaal leeg. Ik geloof dat ik jullie alleen laat.
Alsjeblieft, mama, blijf. Wat een dominee te zeggen heeft, mag stellig iedereen horen.
Nonsens, Lizzy, nonsens.
Maar, mama,
Ik heb niet het hart deze kamer te verlaten zonder hem aangehoord te hebben.
Waarde dominee, beste neef,
Lieve nicht, uw ingetogenheid doet u geen schade, integendeel. Zij is als een milde bries die het liefdesvuur slechts aan kan wakkeren. Mijn dominees, dat zag ik wel haast op hetzelfde ogenblik dat ik u in de ogen keek. Een bang duifje, waarin ik de maagdelijke schuchterheid bespeurde, die eens als een adelaar haar vleugels uit zal slaan op mijn pastorie.
alsjeblieft, dominee, geen woord meer.
Wat ik u bidden mag, lieve nicht, laat mij uitspreken. De redenen van mijn huwelijksaanzoek zijn tweeërlei.
Waarde neef.
In de eerste plaats doe ik aan mezelf een groot genoegen mee. En in de tweede plaats is het mijn beschermvrouw, Lady Catherine de Bark, niet onwelgevallig.
Maar heus, waarde neef.
Toen ik Hansford verliet, zeiden ze tot mij, dominee, het wordt tijd dat u trouwt. Doe het snel en kies een vrouw van enige stand ter wille van mij en van uzelf. Ik zal er niet nalaten haar een bezoek te brengen.
Hoe sociaal, ongelooflijk.
Ik wist wel dat u verbaasd zou zijn over zoveel tegemoetkomendheid. En daar ik de wettig erfgenaam ben van uw vaders goed, besloot ik mijn keuze te beperken tot mijn nichten, ten einde de familie een zekere genoegdoening te doen na het droeve verscheiden van uw aller papa.
Dat was inderdaad zeer behoorlijk van u gedacht.
Een bruidschat eis ik niet, want ik begrijp dat deze er nauwelijks op over zal schieten.
Maar...
Vergeet, lieve nicht, ik zal u nimmer lastig vallen of één woord van verwijt toeroepen in verband met deze tijdens ons huwelijk.
U spreekt ietwat overijld, dominee Collins. Ik heb nog niets gezegd. Natuurlijk ben ik zeer vereerd door uw huwelijksaanzoek, maar helaas kan ik niet anders dan het afwijzen.
Ik begrijp dat het een elegant gebruik is om hiermee te beginnen. Eerst een afwijzing, te meer waar het hem betreft, die men heimelijk vurig bemint. Ik ken de meisjes. Ach, die jongvrouwelijke trots. Zij kan mijn liefde slechts doen toenemen. Ja, dat weet gij, meisjes van stand.
Als een meisje van stand in staat is een fatsoenlijk jonkman zonder enige reden te kwellen, vind ik dat eenvoudig beneden alle pijl. Ik meen wat ik zeg. Mijn gevoelens staan mij niet toe u mijn ja-woord te geven. Bespaar ons beiden de noodzaak duidelijker te worden.
Ge drijft het spelletje wel ver, lieve nicht. Maar daar ik het doorzie, kunnen uw woorden mij niet ontmoedigen. Integendeel, mag ik wel zeggen. Pom 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 pom.
Madam, may I hope that you will use your influence with your fair daughter, Elizabeth, when I solicit for the honour of a private audience with her in the course of the morning?
Oh, dear, yes. Naturally. I'm sure Lizzy will be very happy. I'm sure she can have no objection. Come, Kitty, I want you upstairs.
Dear ma'am, do not go. I beg you will not go. Mr. Collins must excuse me. He can have nothing to say to me that anyone need not hear. I am going away myself.
No, nonsense, Lizzy. I desire you stay where you are. Lizzy, I insist upon your staying and hearing Mr. Collins.
Believe me, my dear Miss Elizabeth, that your modesty, so far from doing you any disservice, rather adds to your other perfections. Almost as soon as I entered the house, I singled you out as the companion of my future life. But before I'm run away with by my feelings on the subject, perhaps it will be as well for me to state my reasons for marrying, and moreover for coming into Hertfordshire with the design of selecting a wife, which I certainly did. My reasons for marrying are, first, that I think it a right thing that every clergyman in easy circumstances, like myself, should set the example of matrimony in his parish. Secondly, that I'm convinced it will add very greatly to my happiness. And thirdly, which perhaps I ought to have mentioned earlier, that it is the particular advice and recommendation of the very noble lady whom I have the honour of calling patroness, Lady
Catherine de Bourgh.
Yes. You will find her manners beyond anything I can describe. And your wit and vivacity must, I think, be acceptable to her, especially when tempered with the silence and respect which her rank will inevitably excite. As I am to inherit this estate after the death of your honoured father, who, however, may live many years longer,
So I devoutly hope, sir.
I deemed it proper to choose a wife from among his daughters, that the loss to them might be as little as possible when the melancholy event takes place.
How thoughtful.
And now, nothing remains but for me to assure you, in the most animated language, of the violence of my affection.
You are too hasty, sir. I am very sensible of the honour of your proposals, but it is impossible for me to do otherwise than refuse them.
I understand that it is usual for young ladies to reject the addresses of the man whom they secretly mean to accept. I am therefore by no means disturbed by what you've just said.
Upon my word, Mr. Collins, I am perfectly serious in my refusal. You could not make me happy, and I am convinced that I am the last woman in the world to make you so. Nay, were your friend Lady Catherine to know me, I am persuaded that she would find me in every respect ill-qualified for the situation.
Were it certain that Lady Catherine would think so, But I cannot at all imagine that her ladyship would disapprove of you. I shall speak to her in the highest possible terms of your modesty and economy and other amiable qualifications.
Indeed, Mr. Collins, all praise of me will be unnecessary. In making me the offer, you must have satisfied the delicacy of your feelings with regard to my family. And you may now take possession of the Longbourn estate whenever it falls without any feeling of self-reproach.
May I hope, dear madam, to solicit the honour of a private audience with your daughter Elizabeth during the course of the morning?
Oh, I'm sure Elizabeth will have no objections. Come with me, Kitty. I need you upstairs.
Dear mother, do not go. I beg you not to go. Mr. Collins can have nothing to say to me that the others will not hear.
Nonsense, Lizzy. I desire you to stay exactly where you are. Lizzy, I insist upon your staying and hearing Mr. Collins. Come along.
My dear Miss Elizabeth, your modesty does you no disservice. Rather, it adds to your other perfections. You would have been less amiable in my eyes had there not been this little unwillingness. You can hardly doubt the purport of my discourse, however your natural delicacy may lead you to dissemble. My attentions have been too marked to be mistaken. Miss Elizabeth Bennet, almost as soon as I entered this house, I singled you out as the companion of my future life. My reasons for marrying are these. Firstly, that a clergyman should set the example of matrimony in his parish. Secondly, that I consider it will add to my happiness. And thirdly, that on 2 occasions Lady Catherine has said that I must marry, that I must choose an active, useful sort of person, not brought up too high, but able to make a small income go a long way. Of the advantages I have to offer you, fair cousin, not least is the kindness and notice of Lady Catherine de Bourgh.
You are too hasty, sir. I am very sensible to the honour of your proposals, but it is impossible for me to do otherwise than decline them.
It's quite usual for young ladies to decline the addresses of the man whom they secretly mean to accept. A first, a second, and even a third time, I am by no means discouraged.
Mr. Collins, pay me the compliment of believing what I say. I wish you very happy and very rich, and by refusing your hand, do all in my power to prevent you being otherwise. You have satisfied your delicacy of feeling in regard of our estate, and may take possession of it eventually, without any self-reproach. The matter may be considered settled.
Miss Eliza, you are merely following the custom of elegant females. You will accept me presently. Indeed, you must accept me. In spite of your manifold attraction, it is by no means certain that another offer of marriage will ever be made to you. Your position is unhappily most small. I am persuaded that when sanctioned by the express authority of both parents, my proposal will not fail to be acceptable.
Mr. Collins.
Believe me, my dear Miss Elizabeth, that your modesty adds to your other perfections. But you can hardly doubt the object of my discourse, however your feminine delicacy may lead you to dissemble. For almost as soon as I entered the house, I singled you out as the companion of my future life. But before I am run away by my feelings on this subject, perhaps it would be advisable for me to state my reasons for marrying.
Mr. Collins.
My reasons for marrying are, first, that I think it a right thing for every clergyman to set the example of matrimony in his parish. Secondly, that I am convinced it will add very greatly to my happiness. And thirdly, which perhaps I should have mentioned first, that it is the particular recommendation of my noble patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh. Mr. Collins, she said, you must marry. Choose properly, she said. Choose a gentlewoman for my sake, and for your own, let her be an active, useful sort of person, not brought up too high. Find such a woman as soon as you can. Bring her to Hunsford, and I will visit her. And your wit and vivacity, I think, must be acceptable to her, when tempered with the silence and respect which her rank will inevitably excite. Yes. So much for my general intention in favor of matrimony. Now, as to my particular choice. My dear cousin, being, as I am, to inherit all this estate after the death of your father, I could not satisfy myself without resolving to choose a wife from among his daughters. And now, nothing remains but to assure you in the most animated language of the violence of my affections.
Mr. Collins, please.
To fortune, I am perfectly indifferent. I am well aware that £1,000 in the 4% is all you may ever be entitled to. But rest assured, I shall never reproach on that score when we are married.
You are too hasty, sir. You forget that I have made no answer. Let me do so now. I thank you for your compliments. I am very sensible of the honor of your proposals, but it is impossible for me to accept them.
I am by no means discouraged, indeed not. I understand that it is usual with young ladies to reject the addresses of the man they secretly mean to accept when he first applies for their favor, and therefore I shall hope, my dear cousin, to lead you to the altar before long.
Upon my word, your hope is an extraordinary one in view of my declaration. I was perfectly serious in my refusal. You could not make me happy, and I am convinced I am the last woman in the world who could make you so.
My dear Miss Elizabeth, my situation in life, my connection with the noble family of de Bourgh are circumstances highly in my favor. You should consider that it is by no means certain that another offer of marriage may ever be made to you. You cannot be serious in your rejection. I must attribute it to your wish of increasing my love by suspense, in the usual manner of elegant females.
I assure you, sir, that I have no pretensions to the kind of elegance which consists in tormenting a respectable man. I thank you for the honour of your proposals, but to accept them is absolutely impossible. My feelings forbid it in every respect. Can I speak plainer?
You are uniformly charming. And I am persuaded that when sanctioned by your excellent parents, my proposals will not fail of being acceptable.
Mrs. Bennet, I was hoping, if it would not trouble you, that I might solicit a private audience with Miss Elizabeth in the course of the morning.
Oh, yes, certainly. Lizzy will be very happy indeed. Everyone out. Mr. Collins would like a private audience with your sister.
No, wait, please, I beg you, Mr. Collins can have nothing to say to me that anybody need not hear.
No nonsense, Lizzy. I desire you will stay where you are. Everyone else to the drawing room. Mr. Bennet?
But...
Now?
Jane. Jane? Jane.
Dear Miss Elizabeth, I'm sure my attentions have been too marked to be mistaken. Almost as soon as I entered the house, I singled you out as the companion of my future life. But before I am run away with my feelings, perhaps I may state my reasons for marrying. Firstly, that it is the duty of a clergyman to set the example of matrimony in his parish. Secondly, that I am convinced it will add greatly to my happiness. And thirdly, that it is at the urging of my esteemed patroness, Lady Catherine, that I select a wife. My object in coming to Longbourn was to choose such a one from among Mr. Bennet's daughters, for I am to inherit the estate, and such an alliance will surely suit everyone. And now, nothing remains but for me to assure you in the most animated language of the violence of my affection.
Mr. Collins!
And that no reproach on the subject of fortune will cross my lips once we're married.
You are too hasty, sir. You forget that I have given no answer.
I must add that Lady Catherine will thoroughly approve when I speak to her of your modesty, economy, and other amiable qualities.
Sir, I am honoured by your proposal, but I regret that I must decline it.
I know ladies don't seek to seem too eager.
Mr. Collins, I am perfectly serious. You could not make me happy, and I'm convinced I'm the last woman in the world who could make you happy.
I flatter myself, cousin, that your refusal is merely a natural delicacy. Besides, you should take into account that despite your manifold attractions, it's by no means certain that another offer of marriage may ever be made to you.
Mr. Collins!
So I must conclude that you simply seek to increase my love by suspense.
Sir.
According to the usual practice of elegant females.
Sir. I am not the sort of female to torment a respectable man. Please understand me. I cannot accept you.
So foolish, child. Don't worry, Mr. Collins. We'll have this little hiccup dealt with immediately.